What is up, everybody? This is RBT, and I'm finally back from my trip. I went to Atlanta for 4 days, and I haven't made this video since, but I'm finally back. I got back last night, and here I am ready to roll. We went to a Braves game. I went with my girlfriend's family, and I'm not a Braves fan at all. I hate the Braves, but I had a good time. We went to a Braves game, went to Six Flags and to Stone Mountain, and that was pretty fun. And I got back yesterday, so let's get back into our routine. I have a few things I want to talk about in this video. First of all, a recap of the Red Sox Mariners series. I didn't get to watch any of the games because I was in Atlanta, but from what I did see is that we cannot hit at all the series. We split the series 2 out of 2. It's about every game in the series went to extra innings. First game, I know that Franklin Morales, he was one hitting the Mariners through 7 innings, I believe, but Felix Hernandez was just as good, and he went all 9 innings with a complete game. I think he struck out 13 people. But Franklin Morales had a great game. That was probably one of the best pitching performances we've had all year by anybody. But we did lose that game 1-0. I don't think one team scored more than 2 runs in this series. I might be wrong, but I guess splitting 2 out of 2 is not it's not worse than losing the series. So I mean, you can look good on that. I think we're only 6.5 behind the Yankees now, because every team in the AL East, really, aside from the Yankees, have been struggling as of late. So that really has not hurt the Red Sox in the standings at all. I think they're a half game behind Baltimore to be in second place. So that's a lot better than what we were after the first month of the season. So no point in giving up yet. Second thing I want to talk about, Erin Andrews is leaving ESPN, and as to a male like myself, that is very, very, very disappointing, because every Saturday during college football season, I will definitely watch College Game Day, and it's pretty cool seeing Erin Andrews on there. I mean, she's, aside from her look, she's a really good reporter, makes things pretty fun, and it's sad that she's leaving. She's leaving for Fox. She's going to be the host of some football show, I believe, and some other stuff. She said it's a dream come true. I don't know really why you'd rather be on Fox than on ESPN, but I mean, if it's her dream, it's her dream, and anybody needs to try to fulfill their dreams if at all possible. And she's given that opportunity and left ESPN, so everybody at ESPN is going to miss Erin Andrews. Everybody that watches ESPN, especially some perverted males out there, will miss ESPN. I mean, miss Erin Andrews on ESPN. Because Fox is just not that big of a sports channel compared to ESPN, so they'll still get a lot less viewers and exposure on there. But I mean, I guess since she's the host of that show, that might be a little bit better for her. But we'll see. But good luck to her. And last thing I want to talk about, which is going to take probably a little bit longer, is the AllStar rosters for the All-Star game has came out for Major League Baseball, the American League and National League. Disappointed Red Sox fan here. David Ortiz is the only player on the entire roster from the Red Sox. Nobody even made a reserve. Nobody even made the final vote. And I don't know why, but everybody in the American League for the final vote is pitchers, and that doesn't make sense, because in the National League they're all position players, so that does not make any sense at all. But yeah, Dustin Pedroia didn't make it. That's surprising. Jared Saltalamacchia got beat out at the very last second by AJ. I think AJ Przinsky was the one. Let me check this real fast so I don't mess anything up. Actually, it was Mike Napoli and Joe Mauer and Matt Wieters made it over him as reserves. So that's pretty disappointing, but I mean, it is what it is. I guess that gives you a little bit more motivation if you're a player that's not David Ortiz. I know David Ortiz is really excited to represent the Red Sox and be the only player there, but I'm sure he would have rather had a few of his friends from the team make it to the trip to Kansas City with them. But I mean, that's just a little bit cooler thing you can say if you win the World Series with a one All-Star player. That shows you're one team that's willing to fight together. I'm just gonna go ahead and list everybody on the All-Star on the roster. The starting catcher is Mike Napoli, first baseman Prince Fielder, second baseman Robinson Cano, third baseman Adrian Beltre, shortstop Derek Jeter, and of course, like always, outfielder Josh Hamilton, who led the way. He blew the the record for most votes out of the water. Curtis Granderson, Jose Bautista, and Ortiz. David Ortiz is starting designated hitter. We're lucky we have that, or we wouldn't have made it. We're lucky it's in Kansas City. And the pitchers, Ryan Cook from Oakland, Matt Harrison from Texas, Felix Hernandez, who I said earlier killed the Red Sox. He always kills the Red Sox. I don't think the Red Sox have ever beaten him, honestly. If they have, it's not been too many times. Jim Johnson from Baltimore, Joe Nathan from Texas, Chris Perez from Cleveland, David Price from Tampa Bay, Fernando Rodney from Tampa Bay, CC Sabathia, but he's hurt. Chris Sale from Chicago, Justin Verlander, Jared Weaver from Los Angeles, and C.J. Wilson from Los Angeles. And the reserves for the team is Joe Mauer, y'all know Joe Mauer, Matt Wieters from Baltimore, the youngster, Elvis Andrews from Texas, the shortstop, Asdrubal Cabrera from Cleveland. I think that every time I watch him, I think he has one of the prettiest swings in baseball. It reminds me of Robinson Cano. Third baseman, Miguel Cabrera, Ian Kinsler, Paul Konerko. Good for him. His career is probably coming towards an end, so you'd like to see veterans like this make the All-Star team. Adam Jones from Baltimore, Mike Trout from Los Angeles, youngster having a great year. Mark Trumbo from Los Angeles, also a really young guy. Billy Butler from Kansas City, a DH, and Adam Dunn, DH from the White Sox, who's also surprisingly having a really good year. I thought he was close to being not productive at all he's proved me wrong. He's been having a really good year. He's right up there with the leaders for the home run category in baseball, so good for him. And the finalists for the American League is all pitchers. Don't ask me why. I really don't know. There might be some special reason behind it, but if there is, I don't know it. Jonathan Broxton from Kansas City, Yu Darvish, the Japanese, Chinese, whatever guy from Texas, Ernesto Frieri from Los Angeles Angels, Jason Hamill from Baltimore having a really good year, and my local guy, Jake Peavy, went to, my uncle actually coached Jake Peavy, which is pretty cool. And moving on to the NL, the starters for this, Buster Posey from San Francisco led the NL in the votes. Joey Votto from Cincinnati, reigning MVP, or MVP for a few years ago. Dan Uggla from Atlanta. Rafael Furcal from St. Louis, good for him. His career is probably also coming to an end. He's a veteran, and you'd like to see veterans like that make the All-Star team. Pablo Sandoval from San Francisco, I have no clue how he beat out David Wright, because David Wright is having an MVP caliber year, and I just don't see how that happened. Melky Cabrera from San Francisco, Carlos Beltran from St. Louis, and Matt Kemp from Los Angeles Dodgers. The pitchers, Matt Cain, Urlatus, Chapman, R.A. Dickey, he's probably made a starter. He's having a great year. You got to pull for him. He's a really nice guy. He leads by example. He's gonna he just should be a role model to a bunch of kids just by the way he carries himself, and leads him to success. Gio Gonzalez from Washington, Cole Hamels, Joe Hanrahan from Pittsburgh, Clayton Kershaw, Craig Kimbrell. I watched him in Atlanta. He's got a really strong arm. Everybody goes crazy when he comes in the game. Lance Lynn from St. Louis, Wade Miller from Arizona, Jonathan Papelbon from Philadelphia. That's weird to say. Steven Strasburg from Washington, having a great year. This is what everybody expected out of him. Houston Street from San Diego. I have a really cool story about San Diego. If y'all want to hear this, I'll say this. I mean, not about San Diego, about Houston Street. And I'll tell y'all about that after I finish naming everything. Yadier Molina from St. Louis, Carlos Ruiz from Philadelphia. These are the reserves. Brian LaHair from Chicago, youngster having a good year. Jose Altuve from Houston Astros, Starlin Castro from Chicago, Ian Desmond from Washington, David Wright is reserve, who should not be, Ryan Braun, Jay Bruce, Carlos Gonzalez, Andrew McCutchen, and Giancarlo Stanton, or Mike Stanton, or whatever you want to call him, from Miami. And the final vote candidates for the NL is Michael Bourne, David Freese, Brian Harper, Aaron Hill, and Chipper Jones. I think it's either going to be Chipper Jones or Bryce Harper. Chipper Jones is his last year, so you're going to have all the Braves fans voting for him. And everybody really in the Southeast. And Bryce Harper, you're just going to have so many votes for him because he's that young guy who's having a great year. And was he like 18, 19 years old? So it's going to come down to them too. It's going to be really close. But the story about I see how long this video is going. 10 minutes. Oh my god. Houston Street. Okay, let me put this thing up. When I went to Boston to see the Red Sox play last time, which is a long time ago, I think I was still in middle school then. I think it was like, might have been 06 maybe. But we went to, it was my whole family, and my sister wanted to see New York and go around New York, so we went to New York before we went to the game. And on our flight to New York, we sat by this lady, and my mom, we got talking to her because we were all separated. So I was like in the back of the plane sitting by some random foreign people, but there was a lady sitting by my mom who had the window seat that just wasn't looking like she was paying attention to the clouds, which, I mean, that's one of the main reasons people like to, or people that haven't ridden planes before like to be on the outside, I mean the inside seat, is so they can see throughout the window and see the clouds and whatnot. And the lady wasn't paying attention to her, so my mom was like, you must ride on planes often because you don't seem too interested by the window seat. And she was like, yeah, I sit by them all the time. My husband or fiance plays professional baseball, and she was asking him who he was. And my mom had, like, I didn't know what was going on, and my mom slipped me a note to my seat, and some man handed me the note and asked me if I knew who Houston Street was. I was like, yeah, I know who that is. He's a closer at the time. He was a closer for the Oakland A's. And I was like, yeah. So the man that was sitting by my mom got up and switched spots with me, and I sat there and talked to the lady for a really long time. She was Houston Street's fiance, and we were just talking about a lot of stuff. And she ended up asking us if she'd like to get something signed by her, and I was like, yeah. So we gave her our address, and she said she was going to send us something in the mail from them, but I didn't really believe she was. I thought she was going to forget about it. But about 6 or 7 months later, I got this huge jersey in the mail from, I think he was living in Texas at the time. I don't know if he is now, but it was a big package in the mail from Houston, and I can't remember her last name, but it had this note in it, just giving me a bunch of advice for my life from Houston Street. And it had this big Oakland A's jersey signed by Houston Street in my closet, and it has a quote on it that says, greatness comes one choice at a time. And that's what I live my life by. Houston Street, he's a really good guy. It means a lot for somebody of that importance on or with that profession to actually care about a little guy like me and want to actually try to make a difference in my life and want to provide me with that day of excitement, because I was a little kid then and it meant a lot. So yeah, that's really it, guys. This video's ran long, so I'm sorry about that, but guess that's it. I'm back, and have a great day, and as always, roll Tide, go Sox, oh, go Tide. See you later.